Good afternoon to all of you. So today we discuss about topic about size reduction. So before going to size reduction, so some of the introduction I will tell. So what is a size reduction? Definition, and then advantage and disadvantage of size reduction. What is the use of size reduction in pharma industry, and then mechanism of size reduction, and then classification of size reduction, and then next some of the instruments we can use reduce the size of the particles. So before going to topic, so what is size reduction? So reduction means reduce the size of the particles. Why you reduce the size of the particles? We can't, the large size of, we can obtain natural source and synthetic process and semi-synthetic methods. We can obtain a lot of different shape of different size of particles we obtained. So we can't use the same size. No? So just to reduce the size of the particles. So before the definition, so what is meaning of size reduction? So size reduction is a unit process. Okay. So the large size of unit mass converted into small particles. Okay. So small particles, even we get uniform size particles, only we obtain the size reduction process. So with the help of size separation process, we get the uniform size particles. So properly, so what is the size reduction? So size reduction is the operation carried out for the reducing the size of bigger particles into smaller particles, one of the desired size and shape with the help of external force. So with the help of the external force, we reduce the size of the particles and we obtain the desired size and the shape of the particles. So it is otherwise called as the comminution, diminution and pulverization. So size reduction is otherwise called as the comminution, diminution and then pulverization. So next one is that, so what is the mechanism? So why size reduction we can use means, so we can't get a uniform size of the particles. So mainly the uniform size is very important. So in large size particle we can't obtain the correct quantity of the drugs. Okay, so only small size particles only we measure and give the proper dose of the drugs. One that product only applied in the pharma industry. So you mainly the objectives of the size reduction, so it increase the surface area. Okay, so the large particles converted into smaller particles, so the size of surface area also increase. So surface area increase, so the particles easily absorbed in the gastric and the intestinal lumen. Okay, so the absorption also increase and the dissolution rate also increase. So for that purpose, the particle size will be reduced. So what is the objective? So to disperse the solid waste easily. So disperse the solid waste easily, and then to improve the handling characteristic, and then mix. Then next to mix the solid particles more intimately. So and then advantage of size reduction. So what is the advantage of size reduction? Means content uniformity. You get the uniform size of the particles with the help of the size reduction process, and then uniform flow. Flow property is important for the filling of capsules and the compression of the tablet. So uniform flow is a very important for the pharma industry. So the uniform flow, so mainly uniform size of the particles only you obtain the uniform flow, and then effective drying. So uniform size of the particles only easily dried in a easily drying. So the particle size also reduction is very important, and then increase the surface area or viscosity. So increase the surface area, the absorption and dissolution rate of the gastric and intestinal lumen is more fastly. So for that purpose, surface area also increase, and then uniform mixing. So particle sizes even are same, only uniform mixing is applied. So improved rate of absorption. So improved rate of absorption means it's the same, again the increase the surface area, and then improve the dissolution rate. So dissolution rate also increase. So the disadvantage of size reduction, so drug degradation and contamination. So suppose if we can use any mills, the friction force will appear, so heat will be produced. So for that purpose, the active potent constituents of the drugs will be degraded maybe. And then contamination, so sometimes the wear of the milling equipment, so the wearing layer contaminated with the active ingredients, they will contaminate the product. So this one leads to the toxic effect sometimes. The next one is the mechanism of size reduction. So the four mechanism involved in the size reduction. So one is the cutting, the second one is the compression, third one is the impact, fourth one is the accretion. So cutting means to cut the shape of the particles, size of the particles. So we can use the large size of the particles in the pharma industry, so that we cut the size of the particles. So with the help of the mechanical process or the dissolution process. So the material is cut by means of the sharp blade, example cut and mill, and then compression. So in this mode, the material is crushed between the rollers. So between the two rollers to put the substance, just you crush the roller, the material size also reduced. So by application of the pressure. So example is roller mill. Impact. So impact also occurs when moving particles strike on the stationary wall. So it's a stationary wall. So in another way, the particles collude with the high speed, rotate with the high speed. The particles collude with one another, so reduce the size of the particles. So the example fluid energy mill. So fourth one is the adhesion. So adhesion means the rubbing action between the surface. So between the two surface, the rubbing action will appear to reduce the size of the particle. So example fluid energy mill. So this is an impact mechanism. This is one is a adhesion. This one is a shear, and then one is a compression. Compression between the two rollers. This is a rubbing action. Just in opposite direction. One roller, another roller is a rubbing action between the two rollers. And then next one is the factors affecting size reduction. So what are the factors affect the size reduction? So what is the first one? The first thing is the hardness. Okay, suppose the material, some materials nature is a brittle one nature. Some of the material hard in nature. So brittle nature we require the small amount of energy, but in the hard material require the more amount of energy needed. So this is main criteria. So the energy required only assess the factors, mainly reduce the size of the particles. So hardness is the important property. So next one is the toughness, and then toughness also say. So next one is a and then material structure. So material structure means some substances are homogeneous in character. So this homogeneous substance and then leads to the and the long fiber. Some of the particles are the fibrous particles. So the fibrous particles is size reduction is very tough to compare the homogeneous in character nature of the particles. So because fibrous structural particles reduce only limited number of the mills only available in comparatively homogeneous particles. And then abrasiveness is the property of hard material. So mainly the surface of the particles is rough, means the reduced size of particle is very tough. So next one is the softening temperature. So suppose if we can use the some mills, so the rubbing action of the between the rollers or mills or pollution, so due to the some reactions the heat will be produced. The heat sometimes reduce the action of the medicament, active medicaments. So next one is the moisture content. So moisture contents only mainly 5 to 50% of moisture only. So it's not a proper size reduction. So not done yet proper size reduction. So and then crushing strength. Crushing strength means the energy applied. You should apply the more amount of energy is fastly reduce the particles. Suppose so depends on the structure of the particles. So based on the structure of the particles, you should apply the strength. Okay. So next one is the stickiness. So stickiness is the particles mixed with the other one to form the clock formation. So the clock formations is very tough to reduce the size of the particles. And then some of the particles explosive in nature. So one drug mix and then presence such material much ground wet or in the presence of the inert atmosphere. So these also main factor you consider the reduce the size of the particles. So next one is the classification of size reduction equipment. So the four type of classification of equipments used in the size reduction. So first one is a crusher. So crusher example edge runner mill, end runner mill. Second one is the grinder. So the grinder involves again divided into four types. One is the impact mill. So example hammer mill. Second one is a rolling compression. So example roller mill. Third one is the adhesion mill. Example adhesion mill. And then tumbling mill is example ball mill. So third one is the ultra fine grinder. So the ultra fine grinder example is fluid energy mill. And then cutting machine, example cutter mill. Okay. So remaining we will discuss in the next videos. Thank you.